Yes, that's the father of Christ Church, CNS, based in Lagos and London. Thank you very much for showing up. Thank you so much. Editors, MDs, I can see MDs of newspapers, editors, industry leaders. Permit me to stand on existing protocol. And forgive me, today is an important day in my career. And you know, sometimes when you find yourself on this stage, you are dealing or trying to process many things at the same time. So you are going to permit me to stand on existing protocol. Beyond the book launch, today is my Ex-Augural lecture. It's a lecture to mark the end of my tenure as editor of the Punch. Thank you. But of course, not the end of my career as a journalist. Of course, you know, I've always been industry led. I'm a journalist. Journalism found me. I actually wanted to be a lawyer, but journalism found me. And so I'm going to be a journalist for a long time. So, but Ex-Augural is the end to mark the end of my career as editor of the Punch. So I start on the existing protocol, and I will try and ensure, to mark my time. My Ex-Augural lecture is titled "Print Journalism in Peril: How Editors are Battling Challenges." My introduction remark. As I said earlier, I stand before you today to deliver this Ex-Augural lecture titled "Print Journalism in Peril: How Editors are Battling Challenges." This occasion marks a significant milestone in my professional journey, a journey that has spanned over 2 decades of dedication, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to the ideals of journalism. As we gather here today, we find ourselves at a critical junction in the history of print journalism. The industry faces unprecedented challenges, from the disruptive impact of digital media to the evolving demands of our reach. Yet, within these challenges lie opportunities for innovation, reinvention, and the affirmation of the core values that define our noble profession. Allow me to express my deepest gratitude to those who have been instrumental in shaping my career, to my mentors, editors, whose wisdom and guidance have been invaluable to my colleagues. Whose wisdom and guidance have been invaluable to my colleagues, whose camaraderie and collaboration have enriched my professional life, and to the entire journalism community, whose relentless pursuit of truth continues to inspire me daily. As the renowned journalist Carl Brestin once said, the greatest felony in the news business today is to be behind or to miss a big story. This statement strikes at the core of what drives me in journalism. The pursuit of stories that matter, stories that shed light on the truth, and stories that have the potential to bring about real change. As said earlier, my journey into journalism started at the Wafeka University in Ife, where I studied English with a focus on literature. In 2001, 3 years into my studies, I became deeply involved in the campus literary scene. I was an active member of the Association of Nigerian Authors, the OAU STEM chapter, attending weekly readings on poetry and literary criticism. This energetic environment, supported by experienced writers on campus, laid the foundation, a strong foundation for my future career as a journalist. I also participated in the Ife Festival of Poetry, an annual event hosted since 1998 by Professor Adebayo Olamide from the Faculty of Pharmacy. Though some of my poems are no longer available, when we were included in the Ife anthologies, festival anthologies, marking my early contributions to literature. A lot of people don't know that I also could write poems. I wrote a number of poems when I was in school. OAU, of course, is renowned for its dynamic campus journalism. The Association of Campus Journalists celebrated the 50th anniversary of that university this year, reflecting its long-standing role in student journalism. So the English department, where I was as an undergraduate, served as a deal for aspiring journalists. For those of you who graduated from IFE, you know that journalism's role in shaping society. Having served as assistant editor of Saturday Punch, and news and politics for 3.5 years, under the leadership of American Dr. P.C. Today at least in the house, I went on to work as news and later as the business editor of the Punch under Mr. Martin Ayapala. I think he's also in the house. A good and compassionate editor. Editor Ayapala, thank you so much. Thank you. Fantastic editor who supported us to grow on the job. Yeah, so I was later appointed as editor. I went on to work as this editor and later as business editor of the Punch under Mr. Martin Ayapala. I was later appointed as editor of Punch weekend titles. Saturday and Sunday Punch met together for the first time in the history of the company. I don't want to talk about how it happened and how I felt when I was asked to do what two editors were doing. Yes, Mrs. Baywater was there when I was giving the letter. And the way she told me was that I was going to give you the strength and the energy to deliver. We thank God today we did deliver. Thank you very much for that. So I successfully led the merger of the two weekend titles, which resulted in significant cost savings for the company. We also introduced new sections and increased leadership. We developed exclusive investigative features and all of that. One of the things that helped me in my career as a journalist was because when I was young as a reporter, I was always being posted to many things. I mean, the longest I ever served on a beat was 3.5 years under the police. They always took me 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years. It wasn't very, you know, it wasn't something that I liked. But it helped me to develop multi-sectoral understanding. So when I became a news editor, it helped because it was just impossible for me not to get the story. If you were, I was going to say too much, I've forgotten that it's the public, whatever. Yes, as in, no matter how difficult it was, you get the story. You know, the multi-sectoral approach, you know, did help me. And I'm grateful to all the editors who supported me. Then most importantly, we did a lot of several soul stories that had profound impact. For instance, we covered Mary Daniel, an amputee mother who was selling pure water or bottled water somewhere in Oshodi. And after a series of stories that we did on her, she got a new piece of life, including a story building to herself and a thriving pure water business. And that's how powerful, you know, the journalism tool could be. Yeah. So thank you very much. So we did a lot of such save our soul story. As of the time I left, we were still getting letters from people who are children who needed to go for surgeries, who needed like 20 million for surgeries in Dubai and all of that. So whenever we do such stories, we always get help. So no matter what, I stand on this podium to say to you that Nigerians, at least a number of us are good people. You know, people still respond to surgeries. So thank you very, very much. So on April 4, 2022, I had the honor of being appointed as editor of the Punch. I didn't know that I would stay too long in Punch to be an editor. I actually wanted to spend 3 years because I was more interested in advertising. I wanted to be a copywriter in an advertising firm, you know, wear good suit, drive a big car, just enjoy your life, no stress, you know. But it didn't happen that way. And it's also important, though it's not part of this lecture, but I'd like to add that when I was going to leave the university, I did a map. I had 3 different maps of possible paths that my life will take, possible paths. And whatever I'm doing today, whatever I've done in the last 20 years, whatever I'm likely going to do in the next 20 years, are in that 3 paths. Because the path, that was the path where if I became a lawyer, this was what I was going to do. That was the path that if I went into journalism, I was likely going to take this path. That was another path. You know. So everything I'm doing today falls within these 3 paths. And I'm grateful to God because it's not all the time that you have the power. It's not part of the lecture. It's power to tell you. It's not all the time that you have the power to predict what your path in life would be. But in my own case, I predicted it and I predicted it right. I think it's powerful. Okay. maybe why it's like that is because a lot of people don't know that my middle name is Eri. It's not Eri. People say Eri because they think I'm a dog. It's Eri. And for people who are anyway, if you are discerning enough, anyway, the name was given to me before I was born. And the woman who gave me that name said, Mama, please, thank you to her together for me. That's the one. So my middle name, I had my middle name before I was born. Is Eri Iye. You know, but I started writing it as Eri from my primary school days. So I kept it like that. So maybe that was how I was able to predict some of the paths that I took or that I'm taking in life. So they said earlier, in 2022, I had the honor to appoint the editor of the Punch. The role required not only oversee day-to-day operations, but also provide strategic and integrated leadership. I'm going to try and move very fast. So, editors play a crucial role in shaping the content and direction of the newspaper or media house. Traditionally, an editor's responsibilities are centered around content management, ensuring accuracy, journalistic integrity, and relevance to the audience. However, the modern media landscape requires editors to do more than just ensure editorial policy. Editors are increasingly being drawn into the commercial aspects of the industry. This shift has created an environment where the performance of editors is judged not only based on journalistic merit, but also on their ability to engage and grow an audience, ultimately contributing to the paper's bottom line. So, of course, editors, when we started this job, many of us either studied English or mass communication. We have some people who study other courses like medicine and all of that. Everybody came together. You need to use the marketplace of like that. We're doing our job. You just do your job, you go. But now, as editor, when you do your job, you still have to be brave. Although, they're for a paper. God, let them have a paper. Because the paper was said, at least, when you don't have enough adverts to paper, you don't feel good because you know that it affects the bottom line of the company. So, the era of editors being just the intellectual power is gone. So you can imagine how challenging that can be. Yes, one could argue that the financial struggles of Nigeria's print media industry have been exacerbated by the inability of some editors to fully adapt to these expectations. Editors are now required to make decisions that balance journalistic integrity with the commercial demands of the business. However, this is no simple task. The media landscape has changed drastically, and editorial strategies that worked in the past may no longer be relevant or sufficient to attract modern reader. Let's be honest, monetizing digital content is one of the toughest challenges we face today. It's no secret that advertising revenues have plummeted, as I said earlier, not just because of the economy, but because advertisers now find more value in digital platforms. Editors can create the most engaging, thought-provoking content, but it is the business side of the thing that often doesn't follow through. While it's easy to say that we will make the content more advertiser-friendly, the reality is that the editorial direction of a publication can't always bend to commercial interests without compromising its integrity. The advent of paywalls has caused strenuous addition to the lecture. Some people visited our office. I was newly appointed editor of the Punch. So this big team came from another media house. I don't want to mention the name. So they were old people, veterans. So we had a meeting. Throughout the meeting, the leader of the delegates was looking at me. Throughout the meeting, because he was like, who is this Punch editor? Who is short? And apparently, or obviously, too young. So I ensured that I focused on the purpose of the meeting, but I knew what was going on his mind. So I felt I would use the opportunity to address that issue. Not young to be newspaper editors. Yeah, before addressing the essential threats facing the media industry, particularly print journalism, it's essential to address a deeply ingrained and often unchallenged perception. The belief that younger journalists are too inexperienced to lead as newspaper editors. This notion, unfortunately, continues to persist among some veteran journalists who argue that years of experience should be the sole criterion for editorial leadership. However, this perspective is both flawed and detrimental to the growth and dynamism of the media industry. I can personally attest to this bias. I just told you one of my experiences. After stepping down as editor of The Punch, a senior colleague called and expressed over the phone that I had assumed the role of an editor too early. While such comments may come from a place of concern or traditionalist thinking, they fail to recognize the changing landscape of leadership across industries, including the media. Age is indeed just a number, and leadership capability is not determined solely by the length of time one has spent in the industry. Instead, leadership is shaped by dedication, creativity, hard work, and often the grace of God. Historically, many individuals have risen to prominence in the media and beyond at relatively young ages, defying the stereotype that express is inherently tied to age. Consider the example of the legendary journalist Lateef Jakonde, born in 1929. At just 27, Jakonde became the editor-in-chief of the Nigerian Tribune in 1956, appointed by none other than Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Jakonde's leadership and editorial prowess, developed at such a young age, not only contributed to the success of the newspaper, but also laid the groundwork for his remarkable career as a politician and public servant. His story illustrates the youthful energy
I believe that we, the media elite in the print media, are responsible for allowing this to persist. It is because of this that they developed what they call ombudsman, headed by Emeka Ezisi. I met Emeka Ezisi, was it last year during the Game Award, and I told him, I said, if you have an ombudsman, the job is to make sure that those who steal news from established newspapers and who parade false information are taken through the legal process. And when you make scapegoats, we'll learn, and there will be more restraint in doing it. But what has happened is that we, the media, need to keep crying and complaining that the story of news, and you are not doing anything about it. They are legal, there is a technological route, you can trace them technologically, and so you can take them to court. And when somebody publishes a story about, if one publishes a story tomorrow and it's an exclusive to Punch, and they got it from one village in Damaturu, and then somebody sitting in his room in Abulega now twists it and reports it as if it is their own. That is stealing. That is one law that you cannot judge. It is very easy. You can interrogate that person, ask you, how did you get this story? Were you there in Damaturu? Who was your reporter? I mean, it's very easy to narrow these people down and take them to court. You're not going to do anything, just take them to court and charge them with stealing. It is very easy. But with the media, we just sit down and complain every day. Oh, I saw my story. I see my comments every day in different platforms. They will put my name there. And I just sit down and if somebody called me one day and said, I read something and so on. That guy was very stupid. I said, well, because you abuse me. But the point is that, you have to take responsibility rather than just complain. In the United States, we complain so much about it here. You don't complain so much about that in the West, where they can trace you and nail you and put you in jail. Thank you.
may have your seats. You may have your seats. Thank you so very much for honoring this gentleman.
Shakespeare once said there's a time that
How is it
that before this sort of fortune, committed all the voices of their lives,
okay, look at
gone in the shadows and the misery. In other words, there's a time for everything under the sun. Just like Ecclesiastes also said,
thank you.
The gentleman has done well. A lot of us saw him go before our very eyes in the industry, and today we all agree that he can stand with any journalist anywhere in the world. So one more time, a round of applause for outstanding investigative journalist Dayo Oketola. He is an award-winning journalist, and today is with the media editions of Nigerian Communications Commission. My friend and brother Kunle Aziz. A round of applause for Kunle.
Editor of this book, Dayo Oketola, said about the troubles that non-journalists pose to the industry. And I will take comments from the renowned people who spoke on the same issue, and I will offer a way out. Without waiting for the NUJ, without waiting for the Guild of Editors, I would say that there's a way better option for you to solve the problem. And I say this with all sense of responsibility. Now, it is possible for people with smartphones and internet connection to perform acts of journalism without being journalists. There's a difference between the two. The kind of thing that brought all of us together today is those who perform acts of journalism who are not journalists. And then straight away people will know the difference.